Extreme luxury around the world. The most expensive and unbelievable hotels, resorts, and destinations. There's a popular belief that luxury is about excess, waste, or vanity. But what if that's just the surface? The truth is that extreme luxury reveals much more about luxury: mindset, perception of value, and control over one's own life. It's more about money than about money itself. Interestingly, the more expensive the destination, the less it speaks of ostentation, and the more it speaks of silence, time, and conscious choices. It's almost a paradox. What seems like excess is, in fact, a search for absolute simplicity. Maybe you'll never sleep in a suite that costs as much as an apartment, and that's okay. The point here isn't to take you to those places, but to show you how these experiences shape decisions, behaviors, and priorities. Because what separates those who live on autopilot from those who live with intention isn't their bank balance, it's how they perceive value. And that can be learned, trained, and applied in any situation. Throughout this content, you will realize that the most expensive destinations in the world hide surprising lessons about focus, mental clarity, and smart choices. Some of them are counterintuitive, others provocative, but they all have something in common. They can change the way you look at your own life from now on. The psychology of extreme luxury. Why some people pay small fortunes to live unique experiences. There's a common misconception when discussing extreme luxury, thinking it's all about showing off. In practice, it's not quite like that. Those who consume this level of exclusivity aren't just buying comfort, they're buying sensation, control, and above all, scarcity. Extreme luxury is the embodiment of something rare, almost inaccessible, and the human brain responds intensely to it. After all, that which few can possess automatically gains more emotional and symbolic value. When someone pays tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single night, money ceases to be the main focus. What takes center stage is the unrepeatable experience: absolute silence, total privacy, service that anticipates desires even before they are verbalized. It's as if time slows down. A simple example: while many travel to relax, this audience travels to feel that the whole world was designed exclusively for him, and that feeling is addictive. Interestingly, this logic isn't so far removed from everyday life. When someone chooses a special dinner for an important occasion or prioritizes quality over quantity, they're applying the same principle, albeit on a smaller scale. Extreme luxury simply pushes it to the extreme. And that's exactly where things get more interesting, because when we talk about places that translate this psychology into physical environments, we enter the territory of the most expensive hotels on the planet. The world's most expensive hotels, suites that seem like secret worlds, suspended in opulence. The most expensive hotels in the world don't present themselves as simple accommodations. They function as parallel universes. Upon crossing the threshold of a suite at this level, one realizes that common rules cease to exist. There's no noisy reception, no queues, or rigid schedules. Everything happens at the guest's pace. The space wasn't created to impress others, but to welcome those who understand the value of silence, precision, and the invisible detail. These suites often occupy entire floors, have private entrances, exclusive elevators, and views that look like living paintings. It's no exaggeration to say that some seem safer and more secure than official residences. A curious detail: many of them are custom decorated for each recurring guest. Pillows, scents, lighting, and even the furniture arrangement follow a pre-planned pattern. It's like always returning to a place that already knows you intimately. Some might think this is an exaggeration, but there's a powerful lesson here. When someone invests in creating an environment that fosters mental clarity, true rest, and focus, the results show. On a smaller scale, this can be applied at home, an organized bedroom, fewer visual stimuli, more intentional comfort. And interestingly, this quest for perfect environments doesn't stop at hotels. It expands to even more isolated and select places. Private resorts on idyllic islands, where luxury meets absolute seclusion. There comes a point when luxury stops being about what you have and starts being about what you avoid. Private resorts on idyllic islands emerge precisely at this turning point. There, the greatest privilege isn't the infinity pool or the cinematic room, but the total absence of interruptions. No curious onlookers, no photographers, no noise from the outside world. It's the kind of place where the mind finally lets its guard down and the body understands that it can truly rest. In these resorts, everything is designed to disappear from view, functioning almost like silent magic. Entire teams operate behind the scenes so that the guest feels alone in paradise. Meals appear at the exact moment. Trails seem open only for one person, and time loses its usual form. Many billionaires choose these destinations not to show off their wealth, but to regain clarity, make important decisions, and reconnect with themselves. There's a simple yet profound lesson hidden here. Even without a private island, anyone can create micro-islands of isolation within their own routine. Silencing notifications for a few hours, walking without headphones, setting aside a real pause during the week. Small decisions like these change the way you live. And when we talk about isolation taken to the extreme, there are destinations so unbelievable they seem designed for only a select few. And that's where the next layer is revealed. Incredible destinations accessible only to millionaires. Ice caves, gold deserts, ultra-private jungles. There is a level of luxury that is not found in traditional hotels or resorts, but in almost forbidden places, extreme destinations, such as ice caves adapted for absolute comfort, deserts where artificial oases emerge, or entire jungles closed off to a select few, cater to a specific desire, to experience something most will never see. Here, the value lies not in visible luxury, but in restricted access, logistical challenges, and the sensation of crossing invisible borders. These experiences require meticulous planning, specialized teams, and costs that would scare any average budget. A dinner amidst the ice, for example, can take days of preparation for just a few hours of experience. But that's precisely what transforms the moment into an unforgettable memory. For those who frequent this world, it's not about absolute comfort, but rather about unique stories to carry with you for a lifetime. Something that ordinary money can't easily buy. Interestingly, this logic also applies to everyday life. Rare experiences don't need to be expensive. They need to be intentional. A simple, well-planned trip, an experience outside the routine, learning something unusual. The brain values what deviates from the norm. And when we talk about rare experiences, a silent question inevitably arises. What happens when the service offered matches this level of exclusivity? Exclusive services enjoyed only by the top 0.1%. Invisible butlers, personal, chefs, helicopters at their disposal. In extreme luxury, service is not present. It anticipates. The ideal butler is one who is almost invisible, yet already knows what will be needed before the guest even realizes it. Glasses are never empty. Rooms adjust themselves, schedules change without causing friction. It's a kind of silent excellence that requires training, sensitivity, and a keen understanding of human behavior. Here, making mistakes is not an option, because expectations are already very high from the start. Personal chefs, for example, don't just cook sophisticated dishes. They study the client's body, mood, and even sleep patterns. The menu changes according to the day, the weather, and the emotional state. Helicopters are on standby not as a display of wealth but as time management, the most valuable resource for those who live at this level. Everything revolves around removing friction, delays, and unnecessary decisions. There's a powerful practical application to all of this. When someone organizes their routine to reduce unnecessary choices, like setting fixed times, planning simple meals, or automating tasks, the mind gains space for what truly matters. Luxury, at its core, is emotional efficiency. And when that efficiency reaches its peak, something curious happens. People begin to seek fewer things and more meaning. The emotional impact of these experiences. What are the wealthy really looking for when they pursue such high-end luxury? After so many layers of comfort, accessibility, and impeccable service, something curious begins to emerge. Extreme luxury ceases to be external and starts to touch the emotional. Many of those who live these experiences are no longer impressed by rare marble or spectacular views. What they are really looking for is feeling of peace, of belonging, and above all, of inner silence. It's as if all this apparatus were merely a means to achieve a specific mental state. There are recurring accounts of people who, after spending days at destinations of this caliber, make important life decisions. They close businesses, redefine priorities, change course. This happens because, when the external noise disappears, the mind can finally hear what was muffled. Extreme luxury functions almost like an emotional retreat, disguised as a sophisticated experience. It's not an escape from the world, it's a rediscovery of oneself. This logic is extremely applicable to everyday life. Moments of clarity don't require money, they require intention. A weekend without commitments, a morning without a cell phone, a silent walk. These are small versions of the same principle. And the more someone understands this, the more they realize that true luxury lies not only in what one experiences, but also in what one learns to hide. The hidden side of the most expensive destinations, silent rules, discreet behaviors, and secrets never revealed. There is a layer of extreme luxury that almost never appears in photos or videos. The invisible code of behavior in ultra-exclusive destinations. People don't speak loudly, don't ask too many questions, and above all, don't show off. The real status there is to go unnoticed. People who frequent these places know that discretion is not just elegance, it's a requirement for access. Anyone who breaks this silent pact simply stops being invited. There are rules that aren't written anywhere. Don't point cameras at other guests. Don't comment on who's next to you. Don't turn intimate experiences into a public spectacle. Many of these places exist precisely because they promise absolute anonymity. Celebrities, global leaders, and major business people choose these destinations to disappear from the radar, even if it's just for a few days. That has immeasurable value. This logic carries a powerful lesson. The less someone feels the need to prove something, the more authority they convey. In everyday life, this translates to speaking less and acting more, not announcing plans prematurely, and protecting projects until they are mature. And when this attitude becomes natural, something interesting happens. The perception of value changes completely. How luxury redefines the perception of value. Lessons that ordinary people can learn from these extremes. After going through all these levels, it becomes clear that extreme luxury doesn't teach about money, but about value. People who live through these experiences end up spending less energy on superfluous things, and more on what truly impacts their well-being. The paradox is simple. The more someone understands what excess is, the more they learn to choose with precision. Luxury at this point becomes a criterion, not an excess. A practical example of this is how this audience makes decisions. They don't choose the cheapest or the most expensive. They choose what solves their problems best. This mindset can be applied to any situation. Buy less, but better. Invest time in what generates emotional and mental returns. Organize your schedule to protect quality time. These are simple choices that, when combined, elevate life to another level. When the perception of value changes, the relationship with the world changes along with it. What once seemed important loses strength, and what truly matters gains prominence. And it is precisely at this point that this entire journey through extreme luxury reveals its greatest lesson. It's not about living like few others live, but about to think like few others think. After exploring this universe of incredible hotels, secluded resorts, and destinations accessible to very few, one question remains: what do you truly value in your life? Extreme luxury isn't about escaping reality. It's about making better choices about where to invest your time, energy, and attention. And perhaps the biggest mistake is believing that these lessons are only for those who are very wealthy. The invitation here is simple, yet profound. What can you do today to live with more intention? Where can you reduce excess, protect your time, create more silence and quality in your daily life? What kind of experiences can you prioritize to feel more present, more lucid, more alive? Real change begins with uncomfortable questions and small, yet consistent decisions. Now tell me, which of these ideas resonated with you the most? Isolation, silence, time management, how to make better choices. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you want to continue learning about mindset, smart choices, and ways to elevate your life without illusions, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, the conversation is always deep, and the next piece of content might change the way you see the world.